Hi everyone, welcome to Cheltenham Chart episode 14. And we'll talk about some incredible racing today, Saturday, in this episode. Some performances which I don't think many people could have expected. So we'll talk about Lossiemouth's win, Sir Gino, Jade De Grugy, Capodanno, and many others who caught the eye with the festival in mind. And we'll talk about all of those as we go through the show. So, yeah, my view, obviously, and that's all I can give you on those performances and the market moves they've created. Before we go into the horses, hopefully you'll indulge me for just a second, because I was watching another Cheltenham show by Smoking Cheltenham. His name's Steve, and I like to watch his shows. He puts up a lot of good horses, actually, talks a lot of sense, and has the sort of mindset that I like. He's not looking for subscribers. He's just looking to back winners and point Panthers in the right direction. And he said something that made me really laugh about, how it's a war against the bookmakers and how the Panthers code works. And he mentioned something about if the bookmaker paid you £20 extra, you're more than likely to walk out the door with a £20. But if another Panther drops a £20 note on the floor, you're more likely to say to the Panther, you dropped £20, mate. And that made me laugh, because really all that this channel is about beating the bookmaker. I don't care how I do it. I mean, in truth, if someone gave me a tip for a horse that was definitely going to win, I'd just put it on this channel, because that's all I want to do is beat the bookmaker. And once I've beat the bookmaker, I'm hoping that people that watch this channel beat the bookmaker as well. So I better get on to the horses now. But yeah, do check out Steve's channel, Smoking Cheltenham, if you get a chance. We will get on to the big performances, but I'm going to do it chronologically. So we'll have to talk about the midweek racing first. And Mirazur West won his maiden hurdle, and it was a good performance, but it was marred by the um, incident with DB Cooper. Mirazur West in the race jumped a little bit to his right. I think this will be kept for a Grade 1 at Panchestown or Fairyhouse later in the season. I don't think this horse will go to Cheltenham after this run. JP has just got so much firepower in this division that I don't think he needs to take a horse who jumps to the right and could compromise his chance to Cheltenham at this stage in his career. I think it probably be a little bit too much for the horse at this stage in his career. So I wouldn't see Mirazur West going to Cheltenham. At Gidleigh Park, Monkfish was superb in the Galmoy, but he's like Steve said on his video, he's held together with sticky tape, and you couldn't back this horse anti-post, because he could be out next week of the festival. He's just you can't back him anti-post. You've got to wait till he's actually gone around, he's been readied for the race, and then you could give him a shot. You could back him non-runner, no bet, but there's no way you could back this horse anti-post. The other race I wanted to talk about was the race with Tactical Move and Sam Felician, and I thought Sam Felician's jumping was absolutely brilliant in this race. Now, he hasn't won. Maybe the distance was just a little bit too far, 2 mile, 3.5. Perhaps down to 2 miles, this horse could win a handicap soon. I don't know if it would be the Grand Daniel, to be honest. I think it could be the Grand Daniel, but I think it may be a big 2 mile handicap in Ireland. Just think this horse's jumping is very good. I thought he was taking half length or length out of Tactical Move at nearly every fence, yet the stamina of Tactical Moves won him the race in the end. It was a decent performance by Sam Felician. Hopefully his handicap mark is reasonable, and I would see him winning a 2 mile handicap chase soon. On to a massive Saturday, and we'll start at Cheltenham with the performance of the week for me and Sir Gino. I thought this was an awesome performance. A lot of people said that Burdett Road wasn't fully tuned up. I don't really care if he wasn't tuned up or not. I don't see any way that he turns his form round with Burdett Road, and I speak to a few people in racing, not many, and one shrewd judge from Ireland said to me, he said he doesn't care what Willie Mullins has got in his yard, they ain't beating Sir Gino, and I have to agree. I thought this was really, really good from Sir Gino. Jumping was a lot better in this race. I thought he settled beautifully. I thought he was just given a really good ride by James Bone. He didn't even take any notice of any other horse in the race because I think he knew what he was on. And not only for the triumph, I think this could be a horse for the future. This was flawless, totally flawless. I thought this was by far the performance of the week. And I know there are a lot of performances that were very good, but I thought Sir Gino was head and shoulders above anything I watched this weekend. I thought he was absolutely superb. Ginny's Destiny's going under the radar, a bit like Stage Star last season. I'm not saying that he can win the Turners like Stage Star, but I think he's a very good horse. He's been very underrated, and this was another good performance by him in the novice handicap chase. He just jumped him into submission, really. He was very good, and like I say, this horse could be underrated. He could go to a Turners and run a huge race, and he'll probably be a decent price. I wouldn't underestimate this horse. He's very, very good, Ginny's Destiny. The Cotswold will split opinion a lot. Capadonna was a big gamble and landed the gamble in very easy fashion, I thought. There's never a stage in the race where I thought Capadonna wasn't going to win this race, and yeah, he's won really nicely. I don't know where he fits into the Grand National and the Gold Cup now, because I don't see him winning a Gold Cup. I could see him placing in a Gold Cup. It was a really nice win. Maybe this was his Gold Cup. Maybe this was what he was lined up for. He was very good. He was a long way behind Galopin Des Champs last time out. A really nice performance. The Real Walker was a big eye catcher in this race, I thought. This is the first time he's really stayed on to good effect. His jumping wasn't great, which was his biggest asset last season, and now it wasn't great in this race. Now, if he can get back to the jumping he showed in the Brown Advisory, he could put it up to a lot of them in the Gold Cup. I'm not saying he could win because Galopin Des Champs looks a bit of a freak, but he's not out of getting a place in the Gold Cup. If he can jump better, he showed that the engine's still there today. So, yeah, good performance from him. Stay Away Faye's price was all over the place for the Brown Advisory after this race. He's clearly not going to go to the Gold Cup now. He's going to have a good chance in the Brown Advisory. I do wonder if something with more pace is just going to do him like Capadonna's done him today. But this was, an open graded race here, and he's run really well. So he's got to take his chance in the Browns, and it's got to be a good chance. I would have just left him alone at the same price as he was, but there will be bookmakers who'd want to cut him on the strength of this run. I'm not really sure where I stand. I'd like to see the Brown Advisory field before I'd make a decision about whether I'd want to be with Stay Away Faye or not. The massive shock of the day came with Jonbon being beaten. His jumping wasn't very good, but it was a terrible mistake at the fourth last that put him on the back foot. And although he got back into the race and upsides Alexier doing nuts, he couldn't keep it going. And a slight mistake at the last cost him as well. I do wonder about Jonbon at the top level in grade ones over 2 miles, if he's quite got it. I know that he looks good against the top level British horses and he's beating Edward Stone, etc. But I think this horse should go up to 2.5 miles into an easier division, because his jumping's under a lot of pressure, and it's going to be under even more intense pressure against El Fabiolo in the Champion Chase. Now, I know that JP wants to win the Champion Chase, and the horse probably will go there, but this defeat is a big, big blow, because he's had a very, very hard race here. And I would have thought Henderson went into this race thinking that the horse was just going to have a very, very, easy prep race where he'd win 8-10 lengths, and you know, he's made jolting mistakes and then he's had a hard race and been beaten. So for me, this was not the ideal prep for a champion chase. Now, they may still go there, but I think for me, if that was my horse, I'd be trying to win a race at Cheltenham. He hasn't won at Cheltenham yet, and I would be going for the Ryanair. Now, that might be controversial, but I don't think this horse's jumping is going to stand up to racing against El Fabiolo at championship pace. I thought Lossiemouth looked brilliant. There's not much you can say about her performance. It was outstanding. She jumped brilliantly, settled well, a lot better than last season, and just was the real deal. But I would urge caution with this race. I really would. I said to anyone that would listen, now I'm not one of these punters that'll pile in at odds on, and I'm not one of these punters that normally would say that anything is a good thing. But I was saying to my mates that like Lossiemouth was a wheelbarrow job today, because why would Townend be going for this horse over Jade De Grugy and over Astro Diamond and over Gidleigh Park unless he was fairly convinced she was something special? And she looked special here. But this race, the reason I was so confident she would win was because I thought our opponents were really not of the class that you'd expect in this sort of race. Love Envoy didn't look like she wanted to race last time out. Rhubarb was giving her £9. So it wasn't, I know it looked visually superb and I was impressed and I love Lossiemouth myself. I said last season after her first run that I thought she could be a superstar, and I still believe she could be a superstar, but I think she was racing against poor rivals here, and she's always going to look really good when she races against poor rivals. She looked like she'd improved, but people are calling for this horse to go to the champion hurdle on the back of this. And I know that Rhubarb was second to Constitution Hill last time out, but that is a massive leap for a 5-year-old mare to take after only one race outside novice company. And I don't think it's the right thing to do. I think she should go for the mares. I would hope she would win it, but I think the price of 4 to 5 over half a mile further is absolutely ridiculous as well. I'm not saying she can't win because I really want her to win. I suggested last season in my last video that she was probably the bet I would put up for this season, but the price had changed from 7 to 1 to 5 to 1, so I didn't advise it. But I said on the video, at the end of that video, I said if anyone asked me for a bet, she was the one that I would have put up. So I clearly have a lot of faith in this horse because I talked about her after her first win, etc. All I'm saying is I thought this race today was terrible. And although she's looked visually brilliant, and she was brilliant, you've got to take into consideration that what Constitution Hill would have done to this horse as well, these horses as well. This was not a good race. So while it was a superb performance, you've got to take that into consideration that she wasn't racing against the best rivals in this race. 4 to 5 for the mares, I wouldn't be going near that. I have to say, no matter how much of a superstar she could be, 4 to 5 is really not for me. I'll talk about the other mares race at Doncaster later in the show, but yeah, I'll take nothing away from Lossiemouth. I thought she was brilliant, and no one would think anything different. I just say take a bit of caution from those rivals she raced against today. Noble Yates won the old age pensioners race. Oh, I know he was good, Noble Yates. Paisley Park was a little bit unlucky, but really and truly, if Noble Yates or one of the horses out of this race wins the Stairs hurdle, it'll be a little bit disappointing for me. They are horses who've had their time. Noble Yates has won a Grand National. Can he win a Stairs hurdle as well? It would be a big win if he could, but surely there is better horses in the Stairs division than Noble Yates. I wouldn't back him. Others will, and I know some people have put him up at big prices for the Stairs before he ran today, but he's not for me, and I'll be really disappointed if he does win the Stairs because I think there are horses that should have more speed, and younger legs. It should just be able to win the stairs before Noble Yates of this world. Gidleigh Park, a lot of people have said to me that they fancy this horse for the Ballymore. In fact, a lot of people have put this horse to me saying, oh, yeah, they're backing this. And I think they're thinking, why could I not see what they're seeing? And he's a good horse. I just wonder if he's going to get top for toe against a top quality opponent. He was good here. He won nicely. He looked like he was going to be beaten. He's battled back, and he's shown good resolution here. And I wouldn't want him to get in a battle with Il Atlantique if I was on Il Atlantique, because that horse chucks it in and Gidleigh Park doesn't. He tries his hardest, but I would wonder if a horse like Il Atlantique would just have too much toe for Gidleigh Park and get away from him. I do wonder if there's a horse in the Ballymore that'll get away from Gidleigh Park. So he's not for me, but he is for a lot of people, and they're on at good prices, and good luck to them. I just think there'll be something in the Ballymore that'll have too much toe for him. But that's just purely my opinion. Over at Doncaster, Jericho de Repine won again. Now he had to get down and dirty here. He's looked like Jonbon looked last 2 seasons ago when he won at Haydock. I just expected more. He's won and he's done it ugly, and it could turn out to be good for him. I just thought he would win this a little bit easier than he did. When I talked to people about the races this weekend, I said that both Jericho de Repine and Lossiemouth would need to be hugely impressive against the opponents they had. Now, Lossiemouth was, she had your mouth open impressive, but Jericho de Repine did not. He looked like he could have been beaten here. Now, that's a good sign that he's managed to win, but in respect to winning a Supreme, would he be the number one for JP? I mean, I have to say that I think we might see a better JP horse next week, and no flies on him. They've already got Mystical Power. They could have Mirazur West. I wouldn't think so, but I don't know. After watching this and the way Henderson commented about him, I've got a dozen of them at home. It sort of he didn't impress me today. He won. He did it ugly. A lot of people will like that, but for me, it was disappointing. And the bookmakers pushing a horse out is almost unheard of, but they did here after a win. So I think that tells a lot as well. So yeah, Jericho de Repine, not for me. In the mayor's race, Astro Diamonds won nicely. Showed a good turn of foot. Now, she'd had a run this season. I'll talk about them all, the front three here now. I wouldn't take Astro Diamond, even though she was the winner, and she was impressive in winning as well. But I would take Gala Marceau out of the 2 Mullins horses here over a half-mile further, and with Gala Marceau having the run and being the bigger odds now as well, I think I would take her out the race rather than Astro Diamond. I do wonder about the run of Under Control, whether they thought they could win this race and go to the Mayor's Hurdle with a decent chance. I did wonder if this horse was just going to be out the back, holding its handicap mark and just getting a prep run after a wind-up. And they've done neither here. They've finished second, which the handicap mark may go up, and they haven't won. So for once, the JP plot doesn't look like it has worked properly here, because they either thought they could win and win a grade 2, or they were going to keep the handicap mark, and they've done neither. They've not won the race, but they're probably going to go up in the handicap as well. But I thought Gala Marceau looked like she might have won at the final hurdle, and she would normally have stayed better than most. I'm wondering if she was a little bit undercooked today. She's won over further in France. She's always looked like she wanted further. Maybe she's just got top for toe a little bit today. So out the 2 Mullins horses, I'd definitely take Gala Marceau going forward to the Mayor's Hurdle, because she's 6 to 7 points bigger in price, and I think she'll like the distance more than Astro Diamond. Finally at Fairyhouse, this will be, I'm not sure people will agree with this but comments, because if you back Brighter Days Ahead, you'll think she's going to win. If you've backed Dysart Enos, you'll think she's going to win. And I have to say, after Only by Night's early performance, I thought she might be the one. But I did say after Jade De Grugy won that I would be on her or Only by Night. Now, I'd backed Only by Night already, and when she blotted her copybook, I was sort of left with a bit of a decision this week. And I kept thinking that Jade De Grugy was overpriced, really, at 8-1 against the front two, and that she would come into the sort of joint favourite with the two of them if she won. I'm not sure this was the greatest race, but I was really impressed with her victory, and impressed to the stage where I thought, now people will disagree with this, I think, but I actually thought she would be clear favourite after she won today. The record of the Sol Arena is good. I mean, Honeysuckle won the Sol Arena. She didn't go to Cheltenham because she had a slight setback, but the horses who have gone to Cheltenham after the Sol Arena have done well. They've all turned out to be very useful horses, and I think Jade De Grugy is very good. Now, I do wonder about camera angles. Sometimes if you're looking from a low camera, it doesn't look like a horse is quickening quite as much as when you're looking from a high camera and you can see them sort of shooting clear. And I think Jade De Grugy's turn of foot between the second last and the last was pretty impressive to me. And if she hadn't sort of bungled the last a little bit, I think she would have won this by a long way. And Brian Hayes eased the horse down. Now, talking after the race, there was 2 interviews with Brian Hayes. Now, he was blown away by the horse, I think, because, you know, although he's a good jockey, he doesn't get on the top ones all that often at the Mullins Yard, and I think he was quite surprised by the turn of foot shown by this horse. Peter Maloney, he was very impressed as well. I think this horse should be favourite for the Mayor's Novice, and I think she's maybe a little bit overpriced still at 4-1 best price. I like her a lot. I'm hoping that she's going to be one of the anti-post bets that I've put off that might get me back on track of my own personal betting. Now, we've had no bets on the videos, but I do like Jade De Grugy, and I think she should be clear favourite after this win. I think this form is just slightly above what the other two have achieved so far. She's in the right yard for a mare, and I think she's very good. In saying we've had no bets, this is the time of year where the markets get turned upside down. We've seen Sir Gino go into 11-8. We've got 3 sort of joint favourites now for the Mayor's Novice, but the prices are going a little bit as horses produce big performances, and it'll be no different next week at the DRF. In fact, some of the horses who I've talked about could have to be pushed out a little bit if there's a big winner in the juvenile hurdle at the DRF or things like that. Then prices will have to change to, you know, you can't have another 11-8 joint favourite for the Triumphs. So something has to give there if there is an impressive winner. I'm looking forward to the DRF. It's going to be just as good as today, but we're having 2 days of it, so it's going to be very informative for Cheltenham. Hopefully we don't have too many short favourites for the festival, because that will make panting up the festival, and on the day, like I'm going to have to do, a bit more difficult. But I have to say that I really enjoyed today's racing. It was right up there, and you know, I have talked down Lossiemouth's performance a little bit, but she was extremely impressive. I think it was very telling that Townend went to ride her today. Maybe it was because the gamble was on Capodanno, but I think he went there to ride Lossiemouth. I really believe she should go to the Mares. I wouldn't be in favour of going to Champion Hurdle with her as a 5-year-old and only 1 run this season. I think that would be a bit much, really. I think they should stick to what they planned all along. Like I say, I think Gala Marceau could be a a decent each way bet for the Mare's Hurdle. Could under control really, because she'll be on a second run after a wind up, and she ran well today as well. I thought Sir Gino was the standout by a long way as well today. He was just he blew me away actually. I thought he was brilliant, and I had a shrewd judge talk to me about Sir Gino saying that he was very good, and I didn't back him, and the 5-1's long gone, and I'm not sure that 6-4's 6-4 is. I can't see him losing unless there's an accident. To be honest, I really don't. I think he was superb today, but 6-4, 6-4, 6 weeks out, and I'm not taking it. But yeah, the markets are taking shape. It was a great week for racing, and next week will be totally no different. Have got racing tomorrow. I'll have to go through that. I'll possibly do 2 reviews next week. I'll do one after the Saturday and one after the Sunday. I think it's nice to. I watch football videos a lot, and fan videos, and they, as soon as the game's finished, do a review, and I think it's nice to get a review out quickly. Once you've watched, like, I like to get my video out quickly on a Saturday or a Sunday, rather than wait till next Friday when everybody else has put theirs out, and then you've heard so many different views of the racing. I want to get mine out first. I want to, whether I'm wrong or whether I'm right or whether people agree or don't agree, I like to get it out very early. I know people will say, "Oh, Lossiemouth was better than I said," and I do think she was great, but I just think the race was rubbish as well. And yeah, so there's a lot to comment on there. I'll try and respond to all the comments that come in, but yeah, just a great weekend. Loved it. Can't wait for next weekend, and I can't wait for the Cheltenham Festival now because it's really hotting up. Star of the show, Sir Gino, by a mile. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.